for the next 15 minutes. But we want to begin our evening with Sean Ash as this Elsa turns into a hurricane tonight.
Yeah, back to a Category 1.
Right.
And already getting some impacts along the western half of Florida.
Okay.
A lot of folks I know from Indiana down there right now. This is a live view. This is from a fishing pier around Fort Myers, and that's actually a live truck. You see on the left side of the screen actually had the mast up. So that tells me the wind is not too terribly strong right now in Fort Myers. Winds up to 75 miles per hour. The 8 o'clock observation had the center of circulation about 100 miles to the south-southwest of Tampa, Florida. This was the track, again, from the 8 p.m. advisory, and I've got a computer model underlaid over that. The bottom line is the eastern side of Elsa is going to go all across the peninsula over the next 18 hours here. So it will make landfall in the Big Bend region. If it makes landfall as a hurricane, there's a hurricane specialist out at Colorado State says it would be the earliest in the calendar year for a hurricane landfall in Florida since Agnes 1972.
Okay.
There's going to be flooding rain. There, just like any time we get a tropical system making landfall, there's going to be the threat of tornadoes, not only in Florida, but through parts of Georgia and taking you all the way out now. So we will miss out on the direct impact of Elsa. Now, earlier this evening, and just to show you the muggy air that's in place, anything that pops up on radar will have heavy rain potential. Radar rain estimates and some ground truth. We had a report out of Brownstown of 2 inches of rainfall. Wasn't widespread, but I show you that because we do expect we are going to have some thunderstorms around during the day tomorrow. Quiet for the rest of tonight. First half of Wednesday is going to be quiet too, but there will be some storms tomorrow. In fact, I think there's going to be a little more numerous.
Okay.
And so be weather aware. A lot of dry time to start out, and then we'll see these storms flaring up in the afternoon and evening, and then storms more numerous going into Thursday. Still circling Friday is our pick of the week, by the way.
Okay.
That's going to be, I think, the best because the muggy meter is going to drop on Friday.
Right.
Still going to be warm, but the muggy meter drops on Friday. And then we get back into kind of some unsettled conditions going into the weekend.
All right, Angie checking in from St. Petersburg, Florida tonight, saying we are all hanging tight here. It's just now starting to rain. So, Angie, thank you for joining us tonight. Glenn is with us, Zach with us, Wes, Sandra, Christy, saying that she's working at the Level 1 Trauma Center in Tampa right now. It sits on an island. Yes, you saw that right, in island. So Christy joining us tonight from Tampa. And Tampa's going to be sort of feeling the effects of this.
I think so, yeah. I mean, they're going to get to some of the bands here. So, you know, we've certainly had stronger hurricanes.
Right.
But we're still, someone was contacting me on Twitter in Orlando.
Oh, okay.
Supposed to go to Disney World tomorrow.
Right,
so,
right.
Morning to midday, probably the roughest in Orlando. But even tonight, the potential for tornadoes.
Okay.
Again, very common when
we
see these systems come on, and tornado watch for the central and southern parts of the state right now.
Okay, Sean's going to be tracking that throughout the evening, not only on our digital platforms, but also, of course, on 13 News at 11 o'clock. So we'll get back with Sean in a moment, but we want to turn our attention to this breaking news in Nora tonight. Emily joins us live. Emily, you're on the scene in the Nora area, and there's been a shooting tonight. Tell us what you know.
Turn our attention to this breaking news in Nora tonight. Emily joins us live. Emily, you're on the scene.
Well, Scott, this is an evolving scene, and we're really dealing with 2 scenes here. The first is behind me. Got my iPhone, so it's a little hard to see, but you can see the police lights behind me here at the Wendy's. And then we have a second scene just a little bit away at the Nora Plaza here on 86th Street. Okay, so here's what we know happened. Police say that 2 people were in a car coming east on 86th Street, and they were having some kind of fight in the car. involving guns. And the passenger bailed out in front of the Wendy's here on 86th Street, and he had been shot several times. Someone apparently picked him up and drove him to St. Vincent, where he is in critical condition after being rushed into surgery. Meantime, the driver of that car, we're told from police, continued down 86th Street and turned into this Nora Plaza right here. And at some point, someone else was again shooting at that car. So we have two scenes here. Police are on scene. We know that driver bailed out of that car, and he actually walked to St. Vincent, where he also is being treated. Police are calling his condition stable at this point. But crime scene investigators are here. Homicide is here. Aggravated assault team, the detectives, they're here investigating this. And police say it's going to be a long night. They're looking at pulling the cameras in this plaza to kind of see, to try and see who was shooting at that Lexus as it drove in here.
All right, Emily, we know that you're going to be following this story, and you'll have the latest for us tonight at 11. Thanks so much for joining us. Unfortunately, we've seen so many shootings across Indianapolis and in busy places. We've seen the shooting at Lafayette Square Mall over the weekend. Castleton Square Mall had a shooting last Friday night. So unfortunately, Metro Police certainly has their hands full with these different investigations. Other news tonight that we're going to be covering, this banned sprinter who we've been talking about, Sha'Carri Richardson, who smoked marijuana after qualifying in the 100-meter race at the Olympic trials. She was told that she would be on a 30-day suspension, wouldn't make the Olympic team for that, was holding out hope that she'd actually make the team relay, the 4x100. But tonight we've learned that U.S. Track and Field has not put Sha'Carri Richardson on the Olympic team, meaning she will not be going to Tokyo. No chance to run for a medal in the upcoming Olympic Games that begin on July 23rd. And so this is disappointing news, of course, for Sha'Carri Richardson, who took full ownership of the THC positive test following that incident. But the 21-year-old will not be racing. So I'm very interested in learning from you what your reaction is to the fastest woman in the United States not making the Olympic team on the relay team as part of the Olympic coverage tonight. Want to let you know that U.S. Track and Field sending out a news release tonight saying, first and foremost, we're incredibly sympathetic toward Sha'Carri Richardson's extenuating circumstances, strongly applaud her accountability, and will offer her our continued support both on and off the track. While U.S. Track and Field fully agrees that the merit of the World Anti-Doping Agency rules related to THC should be reevaluated, it would be detrimental to the integrity of the Olympic team trials that the track and field amended its policies following competition only weeks away from the Olympics, saying that all athletes are equally aware of and must adhere to the current anti-doping code, and our credibility in the national governing body would be lost if rules were enforced under certain circumstances. So that's the release tonight from the U.S. Track and Field. So we'll continue to follow the Olympic coverage as we get ready for the Tokyo Games to begin on Friday, July 23rd, with the opening ceremonies. Wonder what your reaction is to that decision tonight. All right, let's go ahead and finish our coverage tonight by bringing Sean back in. I think one of the most interesting stories we did on the early news tonight was this story out of Australia. Oh. Okay, so there's this Australian guy who goes into the bathroom to do his business, sure, and apparently a snake, a python from the next door neighbor, somehow slithered into the drain and worked its way into the bathroom, and the poor guy sits on the toilet and gets bit by this snake. It's a python. And so anyway, this reptile expert removed the snake, returned it to its owner. The poor guy that was bitten by this python, 65, treated to the hospital for minor injuries. And, you know, I mean, you can't even imagine. No. You can't even.
I don't want to imagine.
I don't want to even think about it. But, you know, this poor guy, this is the guy that was the hero rescuing this pet python from the toilet. So this caused a lot of interest in the news tonight. Thinking about that.
What was the line from Harrison Ford and?
It had to be snakes.
Yeah.
From Indiana Jones. Oh my gosh! Hopefully
Nightmares,
the guy's okay.
that's all I can say,
That
my
is.
friend.
It is a nightmare. I mean, I
Yeah.
think it's going to have us all thinking
Sure.
about looking into the
Make
toilet
sure you look twice there,
before we do
friends.
our business. All right, let's go ahead and read a couple of the comments tonight from our stories that we've been talking about. Mary Jane saying of Sha'Carri Richardson, she knew the rules, no sympathy. Glenn Wright saying, pray for Lafayette Square, Castleton Square, and Washington Square. Obviously is a reference to the shooting. Marla saying rules are rules. I don't always like them either. She knew what she was doing. And we've got somebody, Jamie from Marion, Indiana. I always go to Destin, Florida. Prayers for good weather down there.
Yeah, this thing, once it'll start to speed up.
Right.
I was just looking at the radar, and right now the center's kind of just slowed down a little bit. So that means that western side of the state is just going to get the hose is turned on.
Right. Okay.
So flooding, rain, definitely. Potential for some tornadoes.
Yeah.
And then thinking tomorrow morning, anywhere from maybe 8 to about 11 a.m.
Right.
Landfall around the Big Bend area.
Okay.
And then it starts to pick up speed and zips through Georgia and almost all along the eastern seaboard.
Yeah. Is the most dangerous part of Hurricane 1 or this particular one flooding, storm surge, that kind of thing?
They're all different.
Yeah,
You know, it
right.
depends. You know, when you get into the Cat 5s, then you're talking about just explosive wind energy.
Right, right.
The slower ones can become a big flood issue.
Okay.
So when you start thinking about Texas, you know, I still remember Tropical Storm Allison. Tropical Storm Allison
Right, right.
created a large area of flooding.
Okay.
This one, you know, I think it's going to be a combo of the rain, and we always watch out for the tornado potential.
Okay.
You know, and these tropical tornadoes are usually brief in nature. You know, they're usually not the EF4s or 5s.
Right.
But sometimes they can happen overnight.
Okay.
And so that's what you kind of
It's
watch
pretty
out for,
dangerous
too.
then.
Yeah.
All right, Sean's going to be tracking that, and of course Elsa, now a Cat 1 hurricane. He'll also be tracking the muggy meter that's going to be hitting central Indiana for another day tomorrow. We'll be talking about that, plus the rest of the day news, and we'll be checking back with Emily in Nora about that shooting earlier tonight. All of that coming your way tonight at 11 o'clock over on 13 News. Thanks for joining us here on Facebook. Have a great night.